Howdy, folks. Windy City Thetan Watch. We're in the studio. I know I'm a little bit out of sequence here. I'd originally planned to put this go live right after we did the premiere of the video that I did about the L Ron Hubbard quote. And maybe we'll chat about that a little bit. But then we had a new visitor in the premiere, and he was doing a premiere as well. So we headed over to Heroes Channel. So welcome in, everybody. Hopefully you were able to see the video that we did earlier today. I'll go ahead and send you a link to that. I'm not sure. I don't know if we really want to rewatch it here, but you know, if anybody wants to, definitely we can consider that. Talk about what's going on there. Howdy, Style Audit. Are you back in town yet, or are you still out meandering? All right, now I've got to wonder, okay, so Pinchy, do you want to see the surprise version, or do you want to, because if we watch it here, we'll have a bunch of pauses in it. So, but basically, let's kind of talk about, I'll take you to, so let's see, and sorry. That was not intentional. What I really wanted to do was this, and bring it on screen. So if you look at the top of this, oh, now I have to do, let's see, Control plus, no. Hey, you jerk. Why can't I make that go bigger? All right, I'm feeling foolish right now. Oh, there it goes. So the video that we watched, what it was this is a quote by L Ron Hubbard, and it's really, you know, the aims of Scientology, as you can see here, right? And the quote is, "A civilization without insanity, without criminals, and without war, where the able can prosper and honest beings can have rights, and where man is free to rise to greater heights, are the aims of Scientology." And so this was his statement back in 1965, and he makes this statement. But there is no part of this statement that has any truth or any connectedness to Scientology, right? The idea to have a civilization without insanity means that you need to treat people who have, and insanity is a cursed term in this regard, but you need to be able to treat people with mental disorders, and Scientology doesn't allow for that. They don't believe these people have these people have mental disorders in that situation, right? And then without criminals. Scientology puts the most criminals out there of any church that there exists, at least per capita, and their desire to defend the people who have been commit these crimes is just fraudulent in regards to what's going on there. Without war, in the video we'll go over this, but since 1953, when Scientology came about, they have stopped precisely 0 wars. They've been involved in stopping precisely 0 wars. They have no strategies. They have no tactics that help negotiate or strategize in bringing about the end of wars. So while their aim is to be free of wars, they do nothing to do this. And you're absolutely right. Oh, I forgot. I forgot. We get to click on links. 100%, Becky, right? It's, oh, darn it. What is it when you protest something, but you're the one that's actually doing that? Howdy, no one. Great to see you. If we think about it, people who, like, I'll say, protest the abusing of children are very often the people who are most often doing that. And I know there's a term for it, and if I wasn't such a dolt, I could help you out with that. In the video, we go through a couple of other items with regard to the war, right? The idea that there's several conflicts going on in the world right now. We went over 4 of them, and Scientology does nothing to help those. If we think about people that are in distress, hurricanes, volcanoes, flooding, tornadoes, whatever we want to think about, the Red Cross goes in and they give you food and water, right? They give you shelter. They give you power. They spark up generators to help people survive in these situations. When Scientology comes to town to help anybody out, they hand out the Way to Happiness flyers. Not sure if I've got any with me. Oh, I do. Right. So, I've got to turn that off. Sorry. Let me turn off my backgroundy stuff. So Scientology is going to put out their Way to Happiness flyer. That's how they're going to help somebody who is 3 feet underwater, house flooded with house basement flooded, and that's Scientology's attempt to help somebody. Yeah, I don't even think that'd work, Peter, right? The idea that how well do they really control their people? While I won't divulge if there's any under the radars that I'm aware of, um, with how many under the radars there are, Scientologists don't pay attention and they're not under the control of the organization. Yeah, I want to say thank you to Dave for helping with the voice today. So I reached out to Dave, Declared Dave over at Dave Loves Suppressive Sherry, and he was able to do the voiceover for us. Yeah, right. Thou dost protest too strongly. Go ahead and pull that off. Oh, and the idea of honest beings, right? That in the video, you're going to see that Scientology, while they say they appreciate honesty, there is nothing that will get you very far as an honest person in Scientology. Scientology, by design, is a very deceptive organization. So they're deceptive in their marketing, right? When we look at this, this isn't Scientology. This is the Way to Happiness organization, right? So when we were at the Literary Fest, we would tell people that, hey, that Dianetics book is by Scientology. And the Scientologists would get so upset that we were getting, you know what, just in case any news articles come on, I'm going to move the Alexa. I don't need to be copyright struck because the NFL sees me broadcasting their stuff. Sorry. That they're very deceptive. They teach you to lie, right? They have doctrines in regards to shore stories and acceptable truths, and the idea that you can tell a half-truth to somebody. So their ability to try to stand on the idea that honest beings can have rights, there are no honest beings in Scientology. They all have to lie. One of the quotes that I use at the church, at the cult out there in Chicago very often is that the way to really control people is to lie to them. And that is Scientology's goal, right? Sorry, I'm blabbing through this. Let's say hi to some folks. John, that's a new name. Welcome in. If you've been here before, I apologize, but that is a new name to me. I've got Peter in here, Lily in here. Everybody's saying hi to one another. Again, I love the social graces that we have in here. Got Fuzzy reminding us about Dave's channel. And then Indigo, great to see you. Howdy, Ricky. Very nice to see you. Adam, awesome to have you in. No one, how are you? Hope everything is well with you. And yeah, acceptable truth, right? Anything, as long as it support, you know, the greater good is their claim, which right is a John Locke type philosophy. But the idea that their greater good is anything that supports the Church of Scientology, right? Anything that shows us in a good light is supportive of. So it's just ridiculous how that goes through there. Let me, I want to give you all kind of a treat. Let's see here. And it's, in my opinion, it's a treat. Some of you may not agree, but I'll just give you the intro of the video and we get to hear a little bit from our friend, Declared Dave.
On Hubbard's quote about the aims of Scientology.
A civilization without insanity, without criminals, and without war, where the able can prosper, and honest beings can have rights, and where man is free to rise to greater heights, are the aims of Scientology.
In L Ron Hubbard's utopian vision.
Oh, so sorry I didn't give the trigger warning for you. There, no one. Thank you. Fuzzy was taking care of you there. And there's a couple of other I have a couple of other his quotes in there. Him talking about how we should always be helping the able man and the benefits of the able man. So, oh, Jim Baker, he's got all of the religious fanatics out there. Very, very nice. I think you misspelled kinda. Extremely or incredibly is a more reasonable way of talking about that. And I definitely don't like his pacing, right? When he's talking, I don't like his pacing in regards to his speech. Howdy, Fat Grammy. How are you today? For those of you, well, let's do this. 1 in the chat if you saw the video, and 2 in the chat if you're going to watch it after this. That's very possible, no one, right? That, yeah, just that idea that did he learn that behavior? Howdy, Helicopter. Oh, let me bring that back out there. So what I did is I did a video, and Kelly, thanks for joining us. It doesn't have your production value, but it's what I could do. And it goes over the quote that is the aims of Scientology. And I had that up here just a moment ago. Let me go ahead and pull that back up. Bring that on stage, right? So this quote, right, is L Ron Hubbard, that it's the aims of Scientology. Here's why Scientology exists. It's a civilization without, it states, a civilization without insanity, without criminals, and without war, where the able can prosper and honest beings can have rights. Where man is free to rise to greater heights are the aims of Scientology. And we go through this quote and we just show with just tons of evidence how every single point of this statement is absolutely wrong and fraudulent, that Scientology doesn't care anything about the sanity of humans, right? That it actually protests any way to mentally help anybody. They have a strong belief, right, that the technology of Dianetics is the only thing that can remove engrams, and that's what's causing these issues. And we talk about, right, Miriam Francis, we talk about Ellie Perkins, we talk about Whitney Mills. So the idea, we talk about the idea that there's a plethora of Scientology criminals that are out there. Danny Masterson, Miriam Francis's father, many other people who were abusers in the church. There is nothing that is true about this group. And we do talk about CCHR as well. Sorry, I forgot. I can bring these up on screen. Scientology creates insanity and criminality. If they were bigger, I'm sure they'd create war too. Yeah, they probably do create war in regards to what's going on. And yeah, we do talk about CCHR in the video as well. And we have a clip from a very braggadocious woman down in Florida who runs the Florida CCHR. And there's thousands of people involved in CCHR. And they went to a psychiatry convention to protest. And again, they were vocalizing the idea that we helped stop children from getting the need that getting the care that they so desperately need. So, yep. Yeah, we talked about disconnection, right? There's not as much. We didn't talk too much about bankruptcy in this, but at the end of the day, we do show that it takes money to be a Scientologist, right? And Scientology really does court or go after those well-heeled individuals who can pay for courses, right? The idea that they don't help the homeless, they don't help the unclothed, they don't help the unfed, that there's no value in those people to Scientology because they can't afford to take auditing, to take courses in these situations. So there's just no advantage to Scientology to put a hand out to somebody in need, right? And we never see that. I've oftentimes, there have been people in front of the organization here in Chicago. I remember it's 650 South Clark Street in Chicago. There have been people who have said, well, what about other religions? And don't they take money? It's like, yes, almost all religions have some form of donation that's involved with it. But if you look at the donations that go into most churches, they actually are, it's a flowing door, an open door mechanism where money goes in and money comes out. Now, some money stays in there, right, that people are getting paid, but they actually do help the community, right? You know that there are soup kitchens, there are homeless shelters that are sponsored by churches, right? And that those churches do benefit the communities in which they reside. Scientology does nothing to benefit any of the communities with which we reside in. I'm sickened by how much of my taxpayer money goes to them when they're calling out false claims, crying wolf about people trespassing on their organization, and the idea that we're disrupting their process over at the Literary Fest. And every time the police come, yeah, they're fully allowed to do that, folks, right? And they know that I give them every chance to express their freedom of speech. They're allowed to have their religious beliefs. I don't begrudge them, but I'm also allowed to talk about what I know about those religious beliefs. And the thing that I feel most empowered about when I'm out on the streets is when these victims that Scientologists come up to with a flyer like Way to Happiness or the CCHR. I don't know if I've got a human rights one here, right? A Dianetics ticket. Let's go ahead and watch a Scientology movie. When they're getting these, I want them to know what they're receiving. So I'm just out there educating them. I'm not saying anything hateful about the organization. I'm just espousing truths. And I feel very comfortable and confident that the things that I'm saying on the street, I can back up very, very well. And I'm very, very, I'm happy that the vast majority of people who I interact with, maybe they already know about Scientology, but I get an awful lot of thank you. I didn't know that, right? Howdy, Scientology up north. Yeah, the Narcanon is very, very scary, right? Because one of the things that we know about people that have addictive are addicted to some drugs, you can't quit those drugs cold turkey. Your body creates a physical addiction to them. That's one of the reasons why they're an addictive drug. And the idea that if you quit cold turkey, you can actually put yourself into shock where your body will shut down on itself. And the only thing that Narcanon does, to the best of my knowledge, is everything is just stop taking drugs, right? That's the philosophy at Narcanon. And many drugs, depending on how far you are onto them and how addicted you are to them, you need to come down from that slowly, right? There's a weaning period on that. So, what else did we see in there? Yeah, yesterday was it yesterday? No, it wasn't the last live. It was the live where we had Anthony, right? So Anthony was somebody who apparently had been called by Scientology. He had come to the org, and I could tell that he was out of place. He didn't know if he was in the right place. And by the way, when you're on the street, you can kind of tell this. People are looking at their phone, they're looking at the wall, they're looking at the door, they're looking at addresses, trying to figure out, did I come to the right place? And when I finally realized he was going to go in, I let him know that, hey, by the way, this is a cult, then es una secta, and that made him stop when I said es una secta. So I'm going to say that he probably has some Spanish-speaking, whether or not English is first language or second language. And another Scientologist came out. He had Dianetics flyers in his hand, and he wasn't able to overcome what I was telling this person. But then Jessica came out. And folks, I appreciate that you all are very complimentary of me, but Jessica's better looking than I am, and Jessica was able to kind of suck the person into the org. And I felt terrible about that, right? The idea that the honeypot came out and the honeypot did the work that they were supposed to do, and they were able to pull that person into the org. I think it was yesterday, but you remember all of the lives kind of blend together. I think it was yesterday that right after I got the blinds shut, one of the females came out, and one of a civilian came out of the org, and they had a Scientology flyer with them, and I was going to follow them, and they went immediately to the trash can and threw it out. And then I talked to them and I said, hey, it's Scientology. And they said, oh yeah, I just went in there because I had to go to the bathroom. So yeah, I did like that. Howdy, F Scientology. I don't recognize that name, but I definitely recognize the sentiment, and you are most welcome here with that sentiment. Yeah, I think that, and this is important, right? That over time, humans have an ability that most other species don't. We can carry knowledge forward, whether it's books, whether it's in oral form. We can continually improve our knowledge or our shared common knowledge in these spaces. And we didn't know all of the things about heavy alcohol and Xanax and some of the opioids, hundreds of years ago, but we became more intelligent about that. And we have figured out that there are chemical dependencies that your body interacts with in some of these cases. And you do need professional help to get off of these, that you can get yourself in a great deal of trouble if you just try to quit. And yeah, Fuzzy, I think it's important that people realize I don't bat 1,000, right? I haven't won every time. They have overcome my attempts to stop people from going into the org. I feel good about my record, and who cares about what a record is? But I do think that I have helped a great deal of people in the org, and sometimes I'm just not there. And I've conveyed to all of you many times that I go there for an hour at a time. Scientology is there for 16 hours a day, right? When I'm not there, they're free to interact with anybody on the streets. And yeah, they're probably making headway, but I still stand on, Aaron knows some people in the Chicago org, and there still is no evidence that there are any new Scientologists that started Scientology in Chicago. And I'm going to say, hey, kudos to the Chicago activists and demonstrators, right? And I'm going to go through a list, and I'm going to miss a couple of names, and it's not intentional. By the way, special shout out to Trashy V12 BMW. He was doing some garage work today, but Corn Freak is out there consistently. Never in Nana's out there consistently. Heli Gear's out there consistently. Juanita, Style Audit 1A. We have Free Zine Project coming from out of town. Corn Freak comes from out of town, comes from out of state, right? Dip Me in Glitter has been showing up a lot lately. Nance Drew can't come to the org right now because she's legally barred from being there. But I'm very confident that once the court case clears up, she'll be out there, and she still uses her microphone to protest Scientology, right? Indigo, I assume that this is a problem, but I never hear of this. I'm guessing that it's a common enough or a broad enough problem across humans in general that, yeah, there has to be an amount of Scientologists who do have eating disorders. And yeah, I don't know what in the world happens with them. How do they get help? So far, the police won't give me the body camera footage. I have put in a complaint. The complaint did move to internal investigations. I'm going to tell you that my expectation, most complaints that go to internal investigations in the Chicago Police Department, they go to there to die, right? So that we're probably not going to see anything come of that. Hey, Peter. This is public knowledge, so I'm not giving you anything. I don't have any insider knowledge or behind the nose. But she did put on a community post that she is going to go forward with the lawsuit. So she's chosen not to settle, at least at this point in time. She's moving forward and going to fight Scientology. Now, let's be honest. To say she's fighting Scientology is, again, one of these ethical problems that exist in this space, that Scientology is instigating and supporting the state's attorney to continue on and be arduous in this attempt to prosecute Nance Drew. But if we think about it, Scientology had nothing to do with this. The claim was a person had an interaction with another person. Nance Drew did not have an interaction with the church, didn't have an interaction with the building, didn't trespass, didn't anything. There were two citizens of Chicago who were on a sidewalk, and there was a claim that contact was made. So why is the Church of Scientology involved in this at all, right? For those of you, right, we did the video earlier, and once we did the video, we went over to, oh, darn it. Fuzzy, you're going to have to help me out with the name. But we went to go watch another parody, and it was, they had a bunch of commentary as Moxon, so Kendrick Moxon, right? And Moxon is another one of those attorneys who gets involved in cases that aren't necessarily Scientology, but Scientology has a vested interest in trying to harm all of the protesters and demonstrators in that space. Yeah, that's very nice. I do have one, but she's mine and I'm not willing to share. So just to go back, Adam, I don't know if everybody remembers this, but this officer who Scientology was able to kind of pull in and listen to the story, every other officer that day for 2 days told him to go pound sand. There was nothing that I was doing wrong, and there was no reason that, that they were crying wolf and nobody cared. Well, this particular officer, her name's Kimberly Otten. She has quite a thick jacket of making some mistakes. And the most egregious mistake is that, thank you, Hero Light Cody was the channel that we went over and watched. He also put out a video today, and we were premiering it. Sorry, but Kimberly Otten, only 2 years ago, it was 2 or 3 years ago, it was 20, I think it was 22, she accidentally discharged her weapon at roll call. So a live round of lead was discharged in a room with a bunch of officers getting ready to line up for the morning roll call, right? And roll call is everybody stands up and they get their duties of the day or any notices overnight that or prior shifts that they have to talk about. So that's how clever this officer is, right? And I can't believe that that's not an automatic loss of job. But the idea that you would make such an egregious mistake in there, and it just so happens that that's the officer that Scientology was able to pull in and listen to their short stories. So really, really fun stuff. What else do we have here today? What question? Anybody have any questions? Anybody, anything I can help with? All right. I think what I'm going to do then is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to leave a link here real quick. And I definitely would ask, this is the video that we watched earlier, and it's basically debunking let's see here, let me put it up on the screen. So this is the video we watched earlier. Let me put that out there real quick. Folks, be a critic. Let me know what I can do to make these better, right? I like doing these. They're very time intensive, right? To do a live is rather easy. I sit down and we talk. I go out on the street and I challenge the people that are trying to get sucked into Scientology. So this is a different genre for me, but if you could let me know, do you like the video? Are these things that I should keep doing? Take care, Scientology up north. You have a good night. And thanks for keeping Denmark in check. Watch the video. If you do have comments, leave comments, right? And again, it helps the YouTube algorithm, that the idea that there's engagement over the video. So. Yeah, Nisa, that officer was just out of bounds is the best, the nicest way I can put it, right? Indigo, most likely, yeah, I don't think anything's going to stop me from being out there next weekend. So definitely I'll be out there next weekend. I did think I would go today. I will say I was I was up late last night editing this video. I am, but I'm also, what I do, the 311, usually it's not a fast response. You're never going to get, you don't call for a pothole and expect it to come up the next day. And when I would call, if I was to call for a sign being out on the sidewalk, they're not going to send code enforcement out there to remove the sign. They will send code enforcement out there in the future to tell Scientology they can't do what they're doing. But there's a better, what I do when I get back home on those days is I lodge a complaint online with the building and code enforcement. And that usually goes someplace, and it's easier to get, I can do a FOIA request on it to see what they did with that. I can probably do a FOIA request on the 311s. I just have never done that to this point. Hey, folks, Fat Grammy, and we also see Audit LA as well, that they just do a great job of monitoring the public forums that give us an opportunity to speak out against Scientology and to complain about some of the egregious abuses and misbehaviors that they do. So thanks. Make sure if you're not subscribed to Fat Grammy, you want to get over there and subscribe. She's been going live every morning. I don't know if that's going to continue, but every morning she'll kind of go live. It's kind of a Natalie show, but a little bit more protester-centric, I think, in that process. And her statement is right that we won't see anything again until December. Adam's a smart guy, and I would say you should probably listen to Adam. He's got something going on there. Yeah, I can definitely do that. And let's chat by email. I'm pretty sure you have my email, Indigo, but if not, let's chat by email, and I'll let you know when I'm heading out there. I don't know if they do have a 311 app for the phone. I will check that as soon as we're done here. One thing that I also do use out there quite often is I have Citizen app, and Citizen app is the one where you're going to hear the police radio banter going back and forth. Yeah, it probably would translate to other cities, Peter. So I would say, yeah, if you do get that up there, I'll be more than happy to help promote whatever you can do with that. So what else do we have? All right. Only because I really like watching it. Sorry. I am going to go ahead and play our little intro again. And so Dave did our voiceover for L Ron Hubbard. And then Dave also got this song. By the way, I got a new song today. I won't say who it's from, but I really, really thought they did a great job. So you might be seeing a new intro clip or new soundtrack on the intros coming up soon. But I'm going to go ahead and play the intro, and then Fuzzy, is there anybody out there that we can go raid?
We won't let them take control. Guard the streets and guard your soul. When you see things in watch, standing tall, we won't be caught. No cops gonna claim our town. In the breeze, we bring them down.
All right, folks. You all have a great night. I will probably see you tomorrow out there on the streets of Chicago. I will talk to you all later. Thank you all for coming by.
Welcome back to A Windy City They Tan Watch, the channel where truth meets freedom, right here in the heart of Chicago. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell to stay updated with our latest investigations, interviews, and insights. Your support fuels our fight for freedom and truth. So, let's dive into today's journey, armed with knowledge and the relentless spirit of the Windy City.